Welcome to Creature Geek, the special effects and makeup podcast from a fan and a pro perspective. Season 3 of Creature Geek live at DragonCon.
Live in front of all kinds of people.
I am Len Peralta.
And I'm Frank and Len.
Yes, Frank, this is the first time we've done the show.
In the same room together?
In the same room together.
We're usually Skyping each other.
Yes. And this Creature Geek was actually born here.
Drunkenly at the bar.
Yeah. 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And now here it is. Well, it's like we're living the dream.
Yeah, we've been birthed here at DragonCon.
So Season 3, we got great things in store for you for Season 3. Frank can tell you a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so last season, Smooth On jumped up and they said, hey, let's do a little giveaway.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody on the last episode was throwing down little comments of what kind of projects they might want to do. And there was a bunch of really cool ones. And just yesterday, me and Jason from Smooth On went through all of them, and we decided that the one that we liked the best was from a tested user named Joe Viterbo.
Joe Viterbo.
Viterbo.
All right.
He wants to do this project where he's taken all these electron microscope images of things like pollen, and he wants to make them big, like 3D print them like full size and make them like edible or something like that. So he's going to
Smooth On edible?
No, but Smooth On does have a food-safe silicone
that
you can like cast chocolate or candy or whatever in. But it's going to take a couple of steps, and so we're going to send him a kit of Mold Star and a kit of Smoothcast 300 so he can cast mold and cast his originals out of the 3D printer, and then he said he's got to do some work to it and then do a second mold. And he should use Smooth Sil 940, but we're going to go ahead and send him stuff.
Awesome.
That's who's going to get junk from Smooth On. And so I'll message you, Joe Viterbo.
Yeah, congratulations, Joe. Let's hear it for Joe.
So in the comments section of tested.com.
Yeah.
And then we have some more giveaways coming this season.
Oh, boy.
Mezco Toys has reached out and said, hey, let's give some people some toys.
Yeah. And Mezco, for those who don't know, Mezco does some really, really great stuff with Breaking Bad. They did some Mortal Kombat X stuff.
I did a sculpting lesson on tested.com where one of the projects I did, I was sculpting this little Frankenstein toy. Mezco made that Frankenstein toy.
It's great stuff. If you haven't seen the stuff, go out and check them out. Mezco, Mezco.
Yeah. So we haven't determined how we're going to give it away or which episode yet. So we're gonna figure that out.
Yeah, we're just like seasons 1 and 2. We're winging it.
Figuring it out.
We're figuring it out as we go along. But the good news is that one thing that's going to remain consistent is the incredible guests that we're going to have for this season.
I think we've yet raised the bar. For guests.
Yeah, and we have an incredible guest here today with us as well.
We have Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart's going to be. Actually, today, you know what? I don't have a write-up because I usually have a really, really
you
nice
usually have
write-up.
a whole thing that you talk
well,
about.
I will wing it.
Wing it.
In the spirit of DragonCon, I'm winging it because
we were joking about Patrick Stewart, really. Yeah. but if our guest takes his hat off, you'll never know the difference.
That's right. Today's guest is a makeup effects professional who is actually on 2 seasons of FaceOff with Frank and Len. He has been a guest here at DragonCon for at least the past 4 years.
4 years.
4 years.
4 years.
And he's gonna share help us inaugurate season 3 here on Tested on Creature Geek. Would you please welcome the incredible Roy Wooley?
Yay! Yeah, Roy.
And Frank, I've always considered you number 2, so it's okay.
This goes back to the bathroom codes. Come on.
So how's your DragonCon going so far?
Great so far.
Are you swamped as usual?
Yes, I am.
I every time this is my 3rd year at DragonCon, and I see Roy for a total of like 45 minutes, and that's only because we're on a panel together. You're just running around like a crazy person every time.
And it's probably going to be that way this year. I mean, I've got like a full panel starting in the morning. Well, actually, it started today with the workshop. Had a workshop yesterday. Got the parade starting out at 8 a.m. in the morning. And
the parade's tomorrow?
Yes, parade is tomorrow morning.
Are you in the parade?
No, but I do makeup for Netherworld Haunted House.
Oh,
here in
Netherworld is great.
So.
Yeah, they got a booth thing over downstairs in the Marriott, right?
Yes.
Are you Atlanta based?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm drinking. I'm sorry. I just got off the plane about an hour ago. Beelined it for the hotel. Went to the bar, and now I'm here. So that's my day so far. Been on a plane all day.
Were you drunk on the
No,
plane?
this is my first drink. I had a sandwich on the plane.
So he's
So let's talk about makeup or something.
yeah. So what do you? Is there anything you
It's
can?
like, okay, I'm drunk now. I'm ready to talk makeup.
I'm not drunk. It's a half of a drink, and it's a pretty weak drink, really.
So what are you? What are you? What are you doing for Netherworld? What exactly are you designing creatures? Are you fabricating for them?
Yeah, no. Actually, I've been there for this is their 19th year, and I've been there for 18 of them. So currently I'm the head of the makeup department. I design the makeups for the show every year. I do some of the props and some of the creature designs for some of the animatronics and things like that in the show every season. So,
What's the craziest thing you've done for them so far?
Crazy. Give us crazy.
crazy.
Well, let's do.
Okay. Well, the thing is that the owner of the house, he's like a really big Lovecraft fan. So a lot of his stuff involves things with
Tentacles
and mouths and eyes and things like that. So probably one of the
Mouths
first
and
things he
eyes.
ever
That's
did
so
looked
strange.
like a giant vagina with tentacles coming out of it and teeth in the middle of it. So that's probably one of the freakiest things that I've done.
Talk closer. You gotta get.
Okay.
talk,
Sorry. Okay. Well,
You gotta talk closer.
I got a short cord. I mean,
That's what she said.
We're not using our standard equipment that I've finally figured out how to use. We're using DragonCon.
Okay. How's
We've
this? Is that
hijacked
better?
DragonCon
Does that work?
equipment.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Tentacles.
So you were talking
Vaginas
about
and tentacles.
with
Yes,
tentacles.
and so it was just this giant creature, and one of the things that I know that most makeup artists do, and directors too, is that if they ever get a chance to redo something, they like to go in and prove it. And so the owner's always saying, it's like, no, I want this, repainted. And I will always take it and destroy it and make what I had originally encompassed years before, because now I'm smarter. I know more about the products and things that I can do now.
So you put more vaginas and more tentacles?
Yes. and the thing is that the owner has learned to say, Roy, I just want it painted. I don't want it redone. Just repaint it. Just touch it up, re-art it. Don't remake it. And so that's what I do now.
That's fun. Like, I kind of miss haunted house stuff. Like, I grew up doing makeup for haunted houses. Like, when I was fresh out of high school, that's what I did for the first, 5 years of me trying to figure out makeup and stuff.
Yeah.
I miss, the low impact kind of, it doesn't kind of matter what it really ends up being. Just doing it for fun. Jamming it as fast as you can. And, I kind of miss that.
But to be clear, the Netherworld stuff is really, really high end.
Yeah, we try to be. I mean, we try to make our makeup and our show the best experience that we can. I mean, our sets are built by people who work in the industry. We try to go with as many prosthetics as possible, as few masks. Even the masks that we do are, some of the immortal masks. It's like a really high quality mask, and so we want the experience to be, to be as high as it can be for all of our customers.
We're gonna have the guys from Immortal Masks on this season of Creature Geek.
I say those things look incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, they are just some of the most beautiful work, and I'm sure that the mold work, the molds that I've seen your pictures of are incredible.
I ended up watching, binge watching the tested videos of the Immortal Masks, and I'm like, man, if I had the coin, I'd have them make a special mask for me. It's so awesome. The work is so incredible.
It really is.
Well, based on everybody loving the molds and stuff from the Immortal work that I post all the time, I'm in the middle of writing a book, which I've talked about on Creature Geek last season. And I worked on it pretty much the whole plane trip here. And over here in the crowd here is Sarah. She's the one that's doing the graphic design for the book. She's helping me lay it all out, and then various people will help me make sure I don't sound like a complete moron. Grammar and
is
punctuation.
This like a how-to book that you're making?
Yeah, I'm gonna pretty much nuts to bolts, tell how I make. I've never been secretive about how I do any of these things, and so I'm gonna pretty much spell it out, because I probably get 3 or 4 emails a week, or whatever else. How do I make a mold? How do I do this or that? And so I'm just write the book. Actually, over there, Bill Doran, he helped me work on laying the stuff out when he was working at my shop last month. It feels like a year ago, yeah, doesn't it?
Trust me, a month with Frank feels like 3 years. I know, because I lived with him for a month, and it was the longest 3 years of my life.
I was on his couch for a week, and it was an eternity.
A week on my couch is fine. I'm going to bring you back up for the job I got now. So we should talk about the FaceOff stuff a little bit.
Yeah, we've done 2 seasons of Creature Geek, and we've not had.
I've barely touched.
We talk a little bit about FaceOff with some of our guests, but not about the actual experience.
Is it about how much that they hate the show? Is it because what I hear from a lot of people in the industry, they hate FaceOff and they hate FaceOff contestants.
There's a little bit. Shannon Shea had some
read it on
choice
Facebook all the
words.
time.
Yeah,
well, I mean, there's people that dislike the contestants because there's actually some shitheads that have been on the show. And those people give the handful of people that do good work and that are good for the industry, they give them a bad name.
Well, I think, to be fair, and I've not been on the show or anything, I watch the show, but it looks like they want to get like a wide variety of different people, professionals, people that are just doing kind of makeup on their own. So would that be a fair assessment of that?
I think so.
Like they're not looking for someone who has a huge background like either you or
no.
Frank
I mean, like I know that a bunch of years ago, Rick Baker pitched a show to Sci-Fi called Face Off, and he wanted pros doing pro level work with enough time and enough.
It was called Face Off.
Yeah,
they took his name.
Yeah, and I mean that's why Rick had nothing to do with the show for the first couple of seasons because he was kind of ticked off because they
butt hurt.
Well, I mean, I would. Who wouldn't be, right?
No, well, they just took the name of the show.
Yeah. So, but he wanted to pitch it. He wanted the show to be that, and I mean, it's television. Like we have to make television has to be made not for the handful of pros that that are in the industry. It has to be made for lack of a better term, the people in the flyover states. So a show like what Rick was pitching probably would not have had legs to stay on for
we'll never
now
know.
10 seasons. What 10th season is
they're
filming right now or just
they're
finished?
Filming, they just finished 10 right now, I think. So.
Like that's insane. Like I was on the first season of something that's now been on 10 seasons, and both of us have been on it twice.
Yeah.
Like that's nutty.
Yeah,
so
and the fact that there's been over 100 contestants so far.
There's like 130.
That's crazy.
As far as I'm aware of right now, I don't know. I don't know how many people are on season 10.
Probably 16 again.
It's been changing.
That 16 number.
Yeah.
Last few.
But so anyway, I don't know. I completely forgot what I was talking about.
Rick Baker.
Rick pitched a show. I don't remember. I need another drink.
Well, was your experience on the show positive? I'm assuming that Frank's was positive.
Yeah, I had a good time.
He was on it twice. So
I mean, he came back and I came back. So yeah, I mean, it was apparently a positive experience for me. I mean, the whole reason I went on the show was to not have happen what happened. I wanted to go on the show just to show people what I could do.
Yeah.
It wasn't because what's happened since the show is that actually. Somebody said this to me a couple of years ago, and it's like, it used to be that celebrity makeup artist meant somebody who did makeup on celebrities. Since Face Off, the way that it's happened is that makeup artists are now becoming celebrities.
That's what I was talking about the shitheads on the show.
I'm glad that I could remind you of that. I'll now put my hat back on.
You're not the shithead. But, yeah, it has kind of changed a public perception of.
It's changed the focus.
Well, if you think
from the makeup to the makeup artist.
Yes.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, but
a lot of it has.
But it's always kind of been that way. Like when I grew up reading Fangoria or Gorezone or any of those things, you'd flip through there and you'd see the same half a dozen people all the time. You'd see the KMB dude, you'd see Savini, see maybe
Rob
some
Bottin.
Bottin, Chris Wallace.
Yeah, but Fangoria was pretty much the KMB, episodes.
Yeah.
Like everything in there was from KMB.
Yeah, in the 90s. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's really no different now. It's maybe not so focused on what the current movie is and whatever but it's still it's just whoever's got the public eye. Like because there was still a lot of people back then doing stuff that weren't getting credit.
And I mean, like I said a few minutes ago, it's like I see all these makeup artists now that I've always looked up to, trashing the show and trashing the artist. But I don't think that they understand is that if you go back to them whenever they were in their 20s and starting out,
they would have done it.
They would have done it, and they would have put out the same crap that's being put out on the show. Because I've seen a lot of their work from the 80s, because that's what I watched in the 80s was a lot of their work. And if you look at it now, it looks like some of the stuff even worse than some of the stuff that's shown on the show.
Absolutely. I just saw a picture the other day of remember in.
Remember Octoman from Baker's thing that he did? But he was like 18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Well,
as because that looked just like my subterranean creature that.
Well,
it didn't work.
Well, he probably only had a day or two to do it, right?
Well, I was gonna say I saw a picture of from Army of Darkness, that creature that was in the pit with Ash. Remember that it looked really cool in the movie and stuff. I saw a picture of the sculpture and the paint job on that. Like, it was horrible. I mean, it's really like I look at that thing, I think about that in the movie. Like, if you picture that in your head right now, you go, that thing was really cool. It like jiggled, like, yeah, it didn't move or anything because it was just a mask. But like the raw sculpture and the way that it looked like it was painted like in an hour. It looked like it was sculpted in an hour.
If you shot it in HD now and did a freeze frame on it, you go like, oh my God, that's horrible.
But people of our generation romanticize what we grew up with. And so we grew up.
When I was
with
a kid.
No, but we grew up
makeup
with a
was
bunch
all
of these.
beautiful and cool.
Yeah,
there were no bad makeup.
But that's what it is people romanticizing what they grew up with. And so there's all these people who are like, oh, practical effects, blah blah blah. It's like, fucking look at some of those practical effects. Those are horrible.
Well, you know, like,
there's
you're
some
right,
really
though.
bad stuff.
I romanticize American Werewolf in London.
But that's a that's a near flawless movie.
Sorry,
so shut up, Len.
That still stands.
Shut up,
But
Len.
if you look at the scene where his the bladders move his
No,
face forward,
I don't agree with you at all on this.
really,
No.
you don't think that looks?
You got nothing on this one,
If you were
Len.
to turn into a werewolf,
Wrong
that's exactly
room.
how it would happen. I
Wrong
guarantee.
podcast. No.
But I still think, it was cool at the time for me because
It's still
you know
cool.
how to do it.
I think it's
no,
still
I
cool.
think no, but there are other great like Griffin Dunn's makeup in there, flawless,
Yeah, it was great.
excellent.
The blood swelled the foam latex appliance and made it all like bloated, and it didn't work quite right.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's whatever. I don't know. So yeah, so people don't like some face-off people, but there's a lot of really great face-off people. There's a lot of people that have been on the show. Like, there's people that I hired, like Nico and Kat from what were that, season 4?
No,
5?
they were like 6 or 7.
I don't even know what season they were.
7,
so
I think.
like I hire Nico as much as I can. I haven't hired Kat yet, but I love Kat. She does good work. I have Regina working for me all the time. She's like a little monster, just plowing away at making molds. I just started hiring Lainey.
Yeah.
And if you go through all the past seasons, I've probably hired somebody from just about every season at one point
He
or
hasn't
another.
hired me yet.
It's because you don't live in freaking Los Angeles. But you're out here in Atlanta, and there's a lot of work out here.
Yeah, there is.
Tell us about the work out here in Atlanta.
Atlanta has just exploded. Oh, there's your drink.
Oh,
Nice, thank you, Sam.
My lovely girlfriend has brought me a
Okay,
Jack
Frank,
and Coke.
she's a keeper. Okay, you say I need a drink. She gets you one, and
I didn't
her
even
one.
say I need a drink. I just.
See,
Oh, she sensed it. Oh,
Definitely a
thank
keeper on
you.
that.
Yes, Atlanta is a hotbed of special effects makeup.
Special effects makeup, just straight makeup. I mean, we're just doing so many films right here, right now. I think like right now there's 48, 49 productions in town between now and the end of the year.
That's great.
They just wrapped up Captain America 3.
When
I think,
was it? It's,
Civil War.
Civil War, huh?
Yeah, and I think Guardians of the Galaxy is supposed to be coming in February.
That's what I heard.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so,
Hey, I got a question.
Yes.
Do you know how long the tax incentives last in Atlanta? Because it's always the tax incentives that really dictate where the industry goes.
Really, it's going to depend upon whenever we get a new governor and they decide to throw it away.
Oh, okay.
I mean, because right now, the governor.
Everybody start your
governor
ticking clock down to the governor race.
Well, no, because we've got 4 major studios in town, and they're building 2 or 3 more. I mean, Pinewood is going to expand there some more, from what I understand.
Yeah.
And it's like everybody is building here.
Yeah, I mean that's what they started doing in Detroit, but they ran out of incentive, and so they'll was it Great and Powerful Oz went there, used up all the incentive, and then there was no work, and then they finally got some more incentive. Batman went in there, used up all of the incentive, and now there's no work over there. Not to say that Atlanta's doing that, but you almost have to like put the ticking clock on a
Well,
state.
you do, and I mean,
but
and
I'm curious, like how long is it going to be here? Like,
you know what? You never know. But I mean, as long as it's here, I'm figuring at least 10 years.
you think?
Yeah.
How long was Louisiana's like? I mean, they're still kind of going, but they're petering out.
Louisiana's been going for about 10 years now.
Yeah?
I think.
You think?
Mean, and so has North Carolina, which just lost theirs.
Yeah.
North Carolina had like incentives for a long time.
Yeah.
And they just went out. But I mean, I would expect at least 10 years, just because of the fact that there's so much. It's bringing so much industry to town.
Yeah, but the infrastructure and the industry isn't what's going to keep the productions here. It's going to be the incentives, because no matter how much infrastructure or how much like trained people you have here, all the producers care about is the incentives.
Is that, I mean, but we don't have that strong of an infrastructure right now. I mean, that's what Hollywood's complaining about, because there's not enough locals here that don't know, and so people are actually moving here from L.A. and New York and other states here to work. You know, and so, but I mean, it's bringing in money, and I think as long as it does that, as long as it brings in more than what it's costing, it'll stay.
You just get a little bit of that superhero money, Roy.
Right. Are you lucky enough to be working on some of those productions?
Yeah, actually, I got to spend a few days on Captain America, which was incredible. I got to do a little bit of helping hand work with Legacy, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure you can't talk about it.
No, I can't, but I normally do not geek out. Okay, I don't geek out over actors. I geek out over makeup artists and sculptors that I really admire. But to see all of those costumes and be able to touch them, even just for a second, I was fanboying like a little girl.
Did you lick the Iron Man costume?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
that's all CG now,
dude.
right?
You know who came by my shop the other day that
they actually have it. I mean, part of it is
part
CG,
of it, yeah.
But they actually have. I mean, they actually CG 90% of it, but they're actually wearing at least the top part of it in the helmets.
But you got to see like Black Panther.
Got to see Black Panther. Got to see Spider-Man,
Spidey,
Ant-Man, Vision. It was just
wow.
How many days did you get to work on it?
I think I did like a total of 6 days total, and like the first few days I was doing like background characters for one of the scenes. It was basically a very glamorous job of keeping people in sunscreen and little spray mist over them so they didn't get too hot.
Oh yeah.
But you know what? It was Captain America. I didn't care.
Was it actually Chris Evans, or was it his?
Yes, it was actually Chris Evans, stunt doubles, crossbones.
Oh wow, it was pretty cool.
I was kind of hoping that Captain America Civil War would come back and shoot in Cleveland, because they shot the Russo brothers are actually from Cleveland.
Right. Yeah, but the problem is that Cleveland doesn't have the incentives.
Well, they do have the incentives.
Not the same.
That was why they
package.
shot Avengers there the first time.
No, they shot Avengers there because because I think it was Detroit or somebody.
It was Michigan.
Michigan shit the bed, and so they were like, "Well, Cleveland's close. Let's go there."
I think it was the Texan. It's because they brought Cap 2 there. So
they had originally planned on somewhere else, and somewhere else fell through.
But
and
you're
that's
right,
why they went to Cleveland.
But I was kind of hoping to see him, because they had a lot of Marvel movies there, man.
Yeah,
but
Cleveland can look like any other city, any other city in the frickin' Midwest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool to have it's cool to have that stuff here, but it's great that you have that that you're actually based in Atlanta, and there's all kinds of stuff here for you.
There isn't, because it's funny, because actually if you watch me and my wife watched a lot of murder porn.
What?
Okay? A lot of murder porn.
Wait, what is this? I feel like I feel like I'm
does
dumb.
not know what murder porn is.
What is murder porn? Explain what murder porn is.
Okay, that's your shows on
all the stonecutters just rolled in.
Okay, so murder porns are your shows like 2020 and like
okay.
I thought you were talking about something completely different.
Yeah, ID.
No, that's murder porn.
I thought you were talking about like snuff films.
Oh, all those ID shows are shot here.
Yes, well, not all of them, but a lot of them, or a lot of the segments. And so it's funny to see places that you know, and they're talking about New England.
Right.
And it's like, no, that's down here down the street. It's really weird to see places that you know and see them on the big screen or on TV, and they're being described as something else. It's just...
Wow, for having an unannounced podcast, we got a bunch of people
Hollywood
in here.
Is that, how, places that looks like somewhere else, and they make it somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
So you were able to work on some of the murder porn, is what you were saying?
Yeah.
The murder porn shows?
Yes, yeah, and actually I did a couple episodes of Swamp Murders, which was a lot of fun.
I'm a big fan of those shows, too.
Oh, they're so much fun because you know who did it.
Yeah.
You're just waiting for them to tell you.
So what are you doing? You doing where there's murder and stuff like that? You're doing.
Honestly, the job is almost as easy as going in and keeping people sprayed with sunscreen and mist. It's basically just going and just spattering blood on somebody for a day.
To bring it back to FaceOff.
Back in the long, convoluted way.
Yeah, murder porn.
So there are some people from FaceOff that are doing okay.
Well, that's the thing. You were. I know Frank has been really busy. Not necessarily from FaceOff, but what has been the after being on the show? Have you noticed that there's been an uptick in your hiring out, your business, and anything? Was there any tangible thing that happened from you being on the show, or did you see it was just business as normal and now you're a little bit more well known?
Actually, no. I mean, honestly, all the work that I've gotten has been as a result of FaceOff.
Has it been because of the people you met on FaceOff
Yeah, it
that
is.
have networked you around?
Yes, it has. I mean, I met, V was one of the judges on the show, and she brought me in on Hunger Games, the last 2 Mockingjay movies. And from that, the people that I met on those sets liked me, and they liked my work ethic and what I did, so they started hiring me on other projects, and so it's all just
how much do you think
from that.
How much do you think your work has to do with the fact that they think that they're getting Captain Jean-Luc Picard to be on the crew?
No, I think it has a lot to do with that. Roy is a talented artist, and he's good. I mean, I'm just coming from a Face-Off viewer. I was always a big fan of Roy's work, and I think that's.
Whenever I make my comment, you will know.
Right. Take your hat off. I gotta take the CreatureGeek.
He
selfie.
does. He looks at Roy from here. Yes.
From the back, from behind.
All right, I'll Twitter that as soon as this podcast goes up. When is this going up, Len? Have we
this will
decided?
be going up as soon as I get the MP3. It'll be probably sometime. I don't know. We have to figure it out because we got to figure out
Give
our
us at
schedule.
least a week so that we could start banking a couple of these.
Yeah, we got to get a couple.
Yeah,
sets.
so the whole Picard thing started, I guess, like the first episode of season 5. Whenever we got to the house, or
Yep.
you said something, it started calling me Picard.
Yep.
And okay, I have to tell this story. I tell it every time that Frank and I are together. Frank nearly gave me a heart attack.
Yep.
Okay, the first couple of days at the house. Now, if you guys watched the show, you know that the house had like this really nice long pool and a hot tub at the end of it. Okay? So I'm coming around the corner of the house one afternoon, and everybody else is in the house, and Frank is floating face down in the hot tub. And here
trying to see
I'm
how
at
long
the
I can
corner
hold
of
my
the
breath.
house, and it's like, and I see a body floating in the hot tub, and I was like, and I know it's Frank, and I'm thinking, oh my God, he's had a heart attack. He's floating. He's dead. And I start screaming, Frank, Frank, running for the pool, and I'm about ready to jump in, and he pops his head up. What? I said, what are you doing? He goes, I'm resting.
I was holding my breath.
It's like, you don't rest that way in a hot tub.
Well, nobody else would play in the pool with me. Everybody else was inside at the moment.
That's one thing that I admire about that show is that they don't spend a whole lot of time on the personal relationships at the house.
Were you there when we made up that game in the pool? It was like it was a couple of us. We got so bored we started making up our own games because you didn't really have any. We didn't have board games.
Oh no! You missed the best game of all, the one that got us in trouble.
Which one?
And I can't talk about it, but I will tell you later.
Oh.
You missed the best game.
Did I? Was it after I got eliminated?
Yeah, it was after you got. Yeah, it was actually like down to like I think the last 5 or 6 of us.
Well, I was in the last 5 or 6.
No, it was.
Oh, it was right after me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You guys saved the good game for after me. No, there was like a Cowboys and Indians game that they were playing. And they built a teepee in the front yard.
Yeah, in the front yard, and yeah, they were annoying at that point.
And what else did we do? Oh, we built a fort in the living room out of all the couches and cushions and stuff, and we got in trouble for that.
Why would you get in trouble for building a fort?
Because art department didn't want us moving around the house.
But they're not even filming in there, really.
Fuck them. I don't know. We moved around the house.
Oh no. Okay, now the first day whenever we get there and we go into the house, there's like this collage of like an Andy Warhol thing of like all the judges. And Frank's the first one that sees it, and he takes Glenn's picture and he starts moving it around, and then it ends up.
Oh, they almost shit themselves when I started pulling Glenn's picture off the wall. The tattooed marshmallow.
Yeah, I actually somebody. Well, never mind. I'm not going to say that either. That get me in trouble too. I have to watch what I say, especially on a podcast like this.
Oh, come on. We only got about, a dozen listeners? There's only about a dozen people in here. You're the only people who are going to listen to this thing.
I'll be dumb, but I'm not that dumb.
Let's get you another drink.
So let's talk about your work, Roy. What are
you working on now?
Yeah, what are you working on right now?
Actually, right now I'm getting ready for Netherworld at the moment.
Are they just in Atlanta?
Why don't you tell everybody out there in podcast land what you're wearing?
I don't know. What are you talking about, Frank?
I don't know. Sam brought me another Jack and Coke, so I